Are you working out and eating right but not getting the results that you want? If so, this video is for you. Today I'm going to be covering 8 reasons why you're not getting the results that you want. We are going to dive deep into this, and I'm going to cover the things that are holding you back and how you can overcome them in order to finally achieve your goals. These things are in no particular order, so please don't think that one is more important than the other. They are all reasons as to why you'll not be getting the results that you want. So I hope that you can reflect on what you're currently doing in order to progress moving forward. As always, if you do enjoy this, make sure you show some love, share it on your socials, give it a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on the podcast, then of course, hit that follow button and give me a 5-star rating. Number 1, you're following a meal plan. Okay, so you're probably thinking, wait, what? Isn't that a good thing? Well, yes, I give my squad meal plans, but the thing with meal plans is, 1, you need to actually follow them. 2, you need to be accurate when following them. This means actually weighing your portions as given by the meal plan. And 3, you actually need to follow it Monday through till Sunday, not just Monday to Friday. So the reason why I say that many people will fail when following a meal plan is, 1, they're not being accurate enough, and 2, they actually don't get enough variety in their everyday meals with that meal plan to enjoy it long enough to stick to it. This is why I give 7 different options for the And Julie Fit Squad across the fortnight. So they can choose whichever meals they want to stick to, or they could track their own macros, or of course they could swap out meals through their Fit with And Julie app. So following a meal plan is fine when you're starting out, to give you an idea of portions, to give you an idea of foods to eat and how much you should eat. But ideally, we want to be able to move away from a meal plan and be able to track our own foods that we enjoy using something like MyFitnessPal to track calories and macros. So this is why I give the And Julie Fit Squad calories and macros to help them understand what's actually in the foods that they're consuming across the day. So if you're following a meal plan, I suggest that you look at how accurate you're being with it. Are you weighing the portions of the foods that you're eating, or are you just eyeballing it? Are you eating foods that you enjoy? Do you understand how many calories you're actually putting into your body? Are you sticking to it Monday through till Sunday, or just Monday to Friday? Because as we know, leading on to point 2, a calorie deficit is going to be most important when it comes to achieving your fat loss goals. So many people will reach out to me and they'll say like, look, I'm eating really healthy, but I'm not getting the results that I want. So number 2 is going to be making sure that you're actually in a calorie deficit. I've explained this a few times before, but just to recap, a calorie deficit simply means eating less calories than your body requires to maintain weight. So for example, if you maintain weight at say 2,200 calories and you start eating 1,700 calories consistently, eventually you're going to lose fat. So when it comes to a calorie deficit, often people will say things like, I've been in a calorie deficit for so long and I'm not getting the results that I want. I want you to be honest. How consistent are you actually being with your calorie deficit? Like I said for point 1, are you being consistent Monday through till Sunday, or just Monday till Friday? Are you weighing all your foods and your portions, or are you just eyeballing it? My iometer is pretty damn good after tracking my macros and calories for a very long time now, but most people will highly underestimate how many calories they're actually eating, especially when starting out. So make sure that you are using a scale if you want to achieve physique-based goals, especially if you're not currently getting the results that you want with what you're doing. Look, I know that weighing your food and tracking your macros might seem a little bit tedious at the start, but think of it this way. If you're not currently getting the results that you want doing what you're doing, and I told you, look, if you do everything that I say, you follow this to the dot, and you'll get the results that you've wanted for years, isn't that kind of worth the payoff? It might seem tedious at first, but I promise it gets easier in time. After a good few months of tracking your macros, you'll have a really good understanding of portion sizes, your iometer will get better, and eventually, if you don't want to track macros forever, you can obviously stop doing that and just focus on maintaining the results that you've got. Ideally, what I suggest for the And Julie Fit Squad is to go through, if their goal is fat loss, of course, go through a shred phase, then reverse diet, and then get used to sitting at maintenance so that you understand that you can lose fat, keep it off, and eat foods that you love throughout the process. Number 3, you have an all or nothing approach. Now, I completely understand. I've been there many times before. All or nothing will look different to everyone, but what I essentially mean is you have this idea of, okay, I'm going to start my fitness journey right now. I'm going to go all in. All in might look like going to the gym every day, eating clean and cutting out all the foods that you love. And then the opposite, the nothing side, might look like, okay, well, I can't go to the gym today, so I'm not going to hit my steps. I'm not going to drink enough water. I'm not going to, get my 7 to 9 hours of sleep tonight. And heck, I may as well just forget about nutrition and start again tomorrow. So 2 very big extremes. We don't want to be having this all or nothing approach because it's going to get us nowhere. We'll end up going in a cycle, and I'm speaking from experience here. I would have this idea of, okay, I'm going to go to the gym every single day. I'm going to cut out all the foods that I love. And I do this maybe Monday to Friday. And come the weekend, I want to have like a cheat meal or a cheat day, which leads to being the whole weekend. And then on Sunday night, I'm like, okay, diet starts on Monday. And I'd repeat the cycle in and out every single week, never getting the results that I wanted. An all or nothing approach is never going to help us achieve our goals. Instead of this approach, what I highly suggest doing is looking at what you're doing right now and recognizing what things can change in order to help you build healthy habits long term that you can continue. Okay, maybe you can't stick to your nutrition today. Well, you could still hit your water. You could still focus on, making mindful choices with your nutrition and hitting a workout. Maybe this week you're not going to go to the gym. Well, you could still try and get a walk in before work, and on your lunch break, you could stick to your water. You could focus on your protein intake instead of looking at these really big things that we need to do in order to achieve our goals. Just pick a few key habits that you can focus on each and every day and tick them off. Win the day, win the year. That's kind of the mentality I have when it comes to achieving my goals. I don't look at how long it's going to take. I don't look at the bigger picture. It's like, what can I do today to take me closer to my goals? So look at what you're currently doing right now. What needs to change? If you're, eating takeaways 5 times a week, can you cut that back down to 2 times a week? If you're only hitting, 3,000 steps a day, can you increase that this week to 6,000 steps a day? And then slowly implement these changes over time instead of overwhelming yourself with all these things you need to change and then either completely bombing at them and feeling like a failure, or never even starting because you feel so overwhelmed by all the changes that you need to make. Start small, eventually they'll compound and you will achieve your goals in time, but you're never going to achieve your goals in time if you don't start, or if you try and change too many things at once and then you just end up failing after a day and giving up. Number 4, you only work out or eat right when you feel like it. The truth is, this is not enough. How many of you actually feel motivated all the time? No one. Who actually wants to work out and eat right every single day? No one, including me. I'm not superhuman. I am just like you. I have my struggles. I have my highs. I have my lows. The difference between someone that achieves their goals, whether it's a job promotion, whether it's a relationship goal, a travel goal, a saving money goal, a fitness goal, is discipline over motivation. Discipline is what is going to help you achieve your goals. Discipline is about building up the strength to say no to things that don't take you close to your goals and doing the things that do take you close to your goals even when you don't feel like it. Because if we only work out and we only eat right when we feel like it, chances are it's not going to be enough because no one is motivated all the time and no one wants to do those things all the time. Lucky for you, discipline is a learned behavior and we can actually work on it. And I have a podcast up on how to build your discipline. So definitely check that out. But when it comes to achieving your goals, please set yourself up for success. Set yourself up in an environment that makes it easier for you to achieve your goals. And James Clear talks about this in his book, Atomic Habits. For example, if you know that you struggle to stick to your nutrition and you have a stressful day at work and you always reach for the ice cream or the chocolate bars, well, don't buy a big tub of ice cream and don't buy a big block of chocolate bar to have in the house, because you know that as soon as you have a stressful day, you're going to reach for that. Either buy individual servings or don't have it in the house if that's something that you're struggling with right now. If you know that you struggle to get to the gym after work, maybe you need to change your routine around and make it so that you go to the gym in the morning before work so that you don't have the chance of not going to the gym to work out after work because you're too tired or life's been stressful. It is so important to make sure that you set yourself up for success and recognize recognize that no one's going to feel like doing it all the time and no one's going to be motivated all the time. Number 5, you're not moving your body enough. What do I mean by this? Think of it this way. A 1-hour workout is 4% of your day. Most of us spend a significant amount of our day sitting down to work, commuting to work, sitting down to eat, sitting down to watch Netflix, and then of course sleeping. So if you do say 5 workouts a week, like I do, say there 1 hour each workout, that takes it down to under 3% of your week spent working out. What are you doing for the remaining 97% of the week? Like I said, you're mainly sitting down or sleeping. It's actually not a lot of movement in your week, especially if you have a sedentary desk job like myself. So when it comes to moving your body, honestly, get a step counter, start tracking your steps and aim to increase them from what you're doing currently. With working from home, I'm sure a lot of you really struggle to hit your steps. So this might look like going for a walk before work, going for a walk at lunchtime, going for a walk after work. Okay, instead of watching Netflix with your partner, maybe you're going to go for a walk around the block with your partner and your kids or something like that. Really factor in some times throughout the day in which you're going to move. Movement has such significant impact on our overall well-being, mentally and physically. You might notice that from sitting down a lot, you get really tight hip flexors, which can give you lower back pain, and also it can impact our posture. So walking has so many added benefits, but also across the week, across the month, across the year, it actually adds up to a decent amount of calorie burn, and it also can help us feel mentally and physically better. So please try and increase your step count. If you're currently under 5,000, maybe work on slowly increasing it. So this week you might increase to 7,000, next week you might increase to 9,000, and eventually you'll be hitting 10,000 steps a day and not even having to think about that or worry about it. Of course, it's going to be a big jump up if you're under 5,000 to go to 10,000 a day. Like I said, build those healthy habits in and slowly increase it over time. Be kind to yourself in doing this. Don't stress if you miss a day. Just keep working on it and eventually it will become second nature. Number 6, you are not prioritizing sleep. I don't know how many times I need to say this on every kind of platform that I have, but sleep is so important when it comes to losing fat, building and repairing muscle, hunger hormones, and so much more. I am not a nice person if I sleep under 6 hours a night. I personally prefer to sleep around 8 hours a night, and this literally means that we are in bed by 8 o'clock and awake at 4:30 in the morning. Following on from sleep, recently there's been more studies done to show the impact of the amount of sleep and the quality of sleep that you get in terms of losing fat when in a calorie deficit, showing that people sleeping more so above 8 hours a night versus those sleeping 5.5 hours a night will lose more fat even when both in a calorie deficit. I have some notes on this because I am so passionate about it and I did not want to leave out anything important. So the amount of human sleep contributes to the maintenance of fat-free body mass at times of decreased energy intake. What this means is if you're in a calorie deficit, we want to make sure that we are really maximizing the 7 to 9 hours of sleep so that we are losing fat and not necessarily losing more muscle than we need to when in a calorie deficit. When dieting, a decrease in sleep could increase the amount of muscle you lose as opposed to the fat when losing weight. Hunger, of course, can impact our hormones, and if it's impacting our ghrelin and our leptin, our hunger and our satiation hormones, this is going to make dieting much harder because you'll notice after a poor night of sleep, you're more hungry the next day, which makes it so much harder than it needs to be. So like I said, prioritize your sleep. Whether you are actually in a fat loss phase, a maintenance phase, or a build phase, sleep is always going to be important. Even if you're not on a fitness journey, sleep is so important for our overall well-being. Number 7, you're not actually tracking your progress in a meaningful way. What do I mean by this? Well, of course, the title of this chit chat is Reasons Why You're Not Seeing Results. How are you actually measuring those results? A lot of people will rely on a scale, and to be honest, the scales are not our best friend, especially if they're not changing even though you're sticking to your nutrition and all your habits. I will often get women that check in and they're like, hey, I've been sticking to everything and I'm not losing any weight on the scales, but my clothes fit me better, I have more energy, I'm getting stronger in the gym. Like, that scale can be so disheartening if you see it go up after a fortnight of being really on track with all your habits. A few key things to note here. 1, using the scales is not the best way to track your progress because scales will fluctuate for many different reasons, such as Is your cycle coming up? Did you eat a bigger meal last night before you weighed in this morning? Did you go to the bathroom? Did you have a poor night's sleep? Did you have more sodium or carbs yesterday? That's going to cause you to hold more water. Scales are going to fluctuate for many different reasons. So it's super important that you don't let them determine how you feel about yourself. If you are letting the scales dictate how much you think you should eat that day or how you feel about yourself, please take the batteries out of the scale, put it away, and stop looking at it. Focus on other things to measure your progress. My personal favorite way to measure progress is through taking progress photos. Taking progress photos, how do you do it? Set your phone up on a timer, sitting on the kitchen bench. Wear the same clothes each time, same time of day, first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, wearing the same clothes each time. It's not going to be effective if you wear a bikini one time and then you wear high-waisted shorts and a sports bra the next time. I know it can be really confronting to take progress photos, but I promise you, if you're being consistent, you will be so grateful that you took these photos, because looking in the mirror every day is not enough to see our progress. We see ourselves every single day, and there's no way that you're going to notice the small changes. So take those progress photos every month. Take another one. You can hide them on your phone in a hidden folder so you don't have to look at them, and then put them side by side using an app-like layout to compare your progress. Next up, measurements. Where do you measure? Try around your bicep, around your waist, around your hips, around your thigh. These are great places to measure progress from. Measurements are a good way to see decreases when the scales might not necessarily be showing a weight change. Remember, we can lose fat and build muscle to an extent in which the scales might not show this. Also, look at your non-scale victories. If you have more energy, you're getting stronger, your clothes fit better, you are in a better mood, these are all incredible non-scale victories that show that you are on the right track. Even things like having an increase in confidence or making better food choices when out with friends and having a better relationship with food are all forms of progress. So if you're listening to this video because you don't think that you're getting results, well, why don't you actually look at what you're using to measure the results that you are either getting or not getting? Because if you're just relying on the scales, it's not going to be enough. Number 8, my last one, is a bit of tough love. Be honest with yourself. Over the past 90 days, how accurate have you been with your steps, your nutrition, your water, your sleep, and your training? Hold yourself accountable. How do you actually know how consistent you've been over the last 90 days? I highly suggest tracking your habits. This is why I give the Julie Fit Squad a habit tracker with checklists to tick off each thing each day, because then it enables them to look back on the past few weeks and recognize like, oh, okay, maybe I wasn't actually being accurate with all these things over the past few weeks. For example, if I gave you a habit tracker and you were ticking it off each day and crossing out the things you weren't accurate on, and you thought in your head that you're on track, but you actually go back and look at the habit tracker and see, right, okay, I actually wasn't on track pretty much every weekend for the past 3 months. It's enough to either derail your progress completely or keep you in the exact same place. So we do need to be honest with ourselves. And this is where having fortnightly check-ins with me as a coach and monthly group coaching calls on the Julie Fit Squad can really help you, check in with yourself, because every 2 weeks I expect you to email me about how you're going. And if you reflect on those 2 weeks and all the things that you're doing or not doing, it enables you to be like, okay, well, I'm not actually doing what Julie required me to do to get results. And when we're talking about getting results and maximizing how far you progress in a short amount of time, like 90 days, it actually really matters as to how long you're sleeping for, how many steps you're doing per day. For example, if you're only doing 7,000 steps a day and I told you to do 10,000 steps a day, that's 21,000 steps for the week less than I thought you were doing and that I calculated your calories for. So that's, over 2 days less of walking. It does really matter. The things that I encourage you to do, whether you're on the squad or not, like steps, sleep, nutrition, workout, water intake, these things all matter and go hand in hand to maximize results. When you look at someone on my Fit with Julie Instagram and you see the results that they got in 90 days, whether that's losing 20 pounds or totally changing their shape, it didn't just happen by them, signing up to work with me or just waking up one morning and getting the results. It came from them checking in with me fortnightly, taking progress photos every 2 weeks, being consistent with their nutrition in terms of weighing their portions and tracking them on an app like MyFitnessPal, and then of course following the other things like sleep, steps, and water intake. I know that you can get the results that you deserve as long as you're willing to be honest with yourself and put in the work that is required. So if you are looking for a sign to finally turn things around and get on track this year, head along to fitwithandjulie.com, sign up. I'll send you an email about your goals and we can get started working together today. And if you already are on a plan with me and you're not getting the results that you want, I highly suggest going to the Google Drive or heading to the members only Facebook group, getting the habit tracker, printing it off, and start accurately from today, ticking off those habits, weighing your food, tracking your macros, being consistent with all the habits, and then in a month's time, take some new photos, compare them to where you started with from today, and see how you go, because I know you can get the results that you want, and it is totally possible, but it's going to take time, consistency, and patience. I hope you have a beautiful day or night, depending where you are in the world, and I will catch you in the next chit chat.